There are things a woman deeply loves in a man, but will never say out loud. Not because she wants to hide them, but because she hopes you'll learn to embody them on your own. Every woman is drawn to a certain kind of man. The man whose presence feels like gravity, whose calm steadies her storms, whose purpose gives her direction, whose strength doesn't shout. It radiates. These qualities are subtle, almost invisible, yet they shape the way she loves, trusts, opens, and chooses. Most men spend their lives chasing the wrong things. Status, attention, admiration. While the things women truly desire remain hidden beneath silence. Today, we uncover those truths. The quiet truths. The real truths. The ones that separate a man she remembers from a man she never forgets. Welcome to the channel, Stoic Love Wisdom. This is where you will find valuable lessons and tips to help you build a truly lasting love. In today's video, we will explore things women secretly love in men but don't want to say, with real stories and insight. Don't miss the advice that can change the way you perceive and live in love. You will definitely feel more comfortable when you find a quiet place and put on your headphones. Let yourself relax and be ready to receive the positive messages in today's video. Are you ready to start this journey? Let's start together. Part 1. The silent gravity of a man who knows himself. There is something quietly powerful about a man who has walked through enough storms to no longer fear the rain. Women may not speak of it, they may never confess it even to themselves, yet they are deeply drawn to a certain kind of man, the man whose presence feels like gravity. Not because he tries to impress, not because he demands attention, but because his stillness commands it. A woman may not say this out loud, but what she loves most is not a man who promises the world. It is a man who has mastered himself. A man whose emotions do not swing like a loose gate in the wind, who does not break at the first sign of conflict, whose eyes reflect a mind anchored in clarity rather than chaos. Stoic love is not coldness, it is controlled warmth. It is the fire that burns steadily rather than the flame that rises high and dies fast. And whether she admits it or not, a woman feels safe next to that fire. She feels seen, but not overwhelmed. Supported, but not suffocated. She feels that she can lean on him without fear that he will collapse beneath her weight. The first unspoken truth, the one women quietly love in a man, is this. 1. A man who is calm when the world is not. A woman may never tell you directly, but she falls in love with your calm more deeply than with your charm. Charm may catch her attention, but calm keeps her heart. A calm man becomes a rare sanctuary in a world full of noise, pressure, and emotional turbulence. Women live in a world that demands 1,000 versions of them, soft yet strong, independent yet accommodating, confident yet feminine. Beneath all these layers, she is constantly carrying invisible burdens, expectations, fears, comparisons, insecurities, emotional labor that society never acknowledges. So when she meets a man who is grounded, truly grounded, she feels something inside her unclench. She may not say it, but she rests in him. Not because he fixes her problems, but because he does not add to them. Most men misunderstand what calm means. Calm is not apathy. Calm is not silence. Calm is not emotional suppression. Calm is control. Calm is clarity under pressure. Calm is the ability to let life move without letting life shake you. Women love this because life inevitably brings storms, arguments, disappointments, misunderstandings, uncertainties. And when the storm hits, she silently watches you. She observes whether you break, whether you panic, whether you lash out, or whether you remain steady. Your reaction in those moments tells her everything she needs to know about the future she could build with you. A stoic man does not run from emotion, he regulates it. He does not avoid problems, he faces them deliberately. He does not raise his voice, he raises his awareness. A woman may not articulate this, but when a man handles conflict with maturity instead of ego, her respect for him deepens. Respect is the foundation of romantic desire, because a woman cannot deeply love a man she does not respect. There is also something incredibly magnetic about a man who does not flinch when things become difficult. She sees a piece of herself reflected in him, a reminder that she, too, can remain centered. Your stability becomes contagious. Your presence becomes medicine. Your decisions become guidance. This does not mean you must become emotionless. Stoicism in love does not mean becoming a stone wall. It means being a strong structure, steady, dependable, honest, self-aware. A woman does not want a man who collapses into her arms every time life becomes heavy. She wants a man who can stand beside her as an equal, who can hold her when she crumbles, who can listen without being dragged into emotional chaos. A man who can say, with quiet certainty, "We will get through this. One step at a time." When a man speaks from a centered place, his words carry weight, not because he's loud, but because he's rooted. And women can feel this. They feel it more than they understand it, and they understand it more than they admit. Here is the truth few men realize. A calm man makes a woman feel more feminine. A centered man makes a woman feel more open. A grounded man gives her permission to exhale. And that exhale is where love begins. What women love, but rarely say, is that a man who remains composed is not merely attractive. He is irresistible. He becomes the quiet anchor to which her heart returns after every emotional tide. She may tell you she loves your humor, your looks, your ambition. But what she feels most strongly, what she often cannot explain, is that your calm makes her feel safe to be vulnerable. Safe to be herself. Safe to love you without fear. And that, my friend, is the first secret. A man who is calm does not have to chase. His presence draws her in, naturally, inevitably, and deeply. In love, sometimes we don't need too many promises, but just a little understanding and a heart that knows how to listen. It is the experiences, both happy and sad, that help us mature and know how to love more fully. Here, I want to contemplate those things with you, so that each step in the journey of love becomes more clear-headed and peaceful. If you feel that what I share is valuable, please click like to support this video. And if this is your first visit, please click subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so you don't miss the next insightful perspectives on love. I also really want to hear from you. What do you like most about today's story? Leave a comment below, because who knows, your experience might be a great source of encouragement for someone else who is listening. And now, let's continue to explore what's waiting for you. Part 2, A Man with Purpose, the silent signal women feel before they love. There is a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when a woman begins to look at a man differently. It is not when he buys her gifts. Not when he compliments her. Not when he tries to impress her. It is when she senses something deeper, direction. A man who knows where he is going radiates a certain energy. It isn't arrogance, and it isn't ambition for the sake of ego. It's something far more grounded. A steady fire inside him that does not flicker even when life blows against it. A woman may never say this openly, but she is profoundly attracted to a man with purpose. Even more than to a man with success. Because success is an outcome, but purpose is a compass. Purpose is the thing that tells her, this man won't get lost. He won't drift. He won't fade into excuses or indecision. Most men think women want a perfect man. They don't. What they truly love, secretly, quietly, is a man who wakes up with intention. A man who moves through life with an inner direction that cannot be purchased, faked, or borrowed. A man who does not just exist, but builds. 2. Purpose creates magnetism without effort. A man with purpose does not need to chase. His path creates its own gravity. In Stoic love, purpose is not about becoming rich, famous, or admired. It is about living according to one's values. A man aligned with his values becomes a force. Calm, clear, powerful in a way that speaks softly yet resonates deeply. A woman can sense this almost immediately. She notices how he listens. How he chooses his words. How he acts when no one is watching. How he stands when life pressures him. She sees that every step he takes has meaning. And without realizing why, she begins to feel drawn toward him, not because he wants her, but because he doesn't need her to feel complete. Women love a man who desires them, yes. But they stay with a man who does not depend on them for purpose. This distinction is everything. A man without purpose leans on her for motivation, direction, validation. She becomes his anchor, his reason, his identity. At first, it may feel flattering. Later, it becomes heavy. Love turns into obligation. Passion becomes pressure. But a man with purpose? He carries himself. He carries his dreams. He carries his responsibilities. She does not have to push him. She does not have to save him. She does not have to carry his burdens as if they were her own. And that, whether she speaks it or not, makes her admire him. Respect him. Feel safe with him. Desire him. Men often ask why women seem to fall for men who are busy, focused, or on their mission. It's not the busyness. It's the direction. Women are naturally drawn to masculine energy, and masculine energy is defined by forward motion. By vision. By progress. By responsibility. She isn't attracted to his schedule. She's attracted to his momentum. 3. Purpose shapes a man's presence. Here is something most men overlook. Purpose changes the way a man walks into a room. He doesn't need to dominate the space. He doesn't need to impress anyone. His presence speaks before his voice does. Because a purposeful man lives with clarity, he does not seek approval. He does not cling to small conflicts. He does not entertain meaningless drama. His mind is too focused on building, improving, advancing, becoming. And this creates a masculine calmness that women feel instantly. When a woman meets a man with purpose, she recognizes him by the steadiness in his eyes. He looks at her with interest, not hunger. With warmth, not desperation. He is open to connection, but not defined by it. This is the kind of man she respects. This is the kind of man she listens to. This is the kind of man she loves quietly long before she admits it. 4. Purpose makes love deeper, not colder. Some men fear that focusing on their mission makes them appear distant. But Stoic love teaches something essential. A man becomes more capable of love when he is grounded in his purpose. Why? Because purpose organizes his chaos. It strengthens his discipline. It sharpens his mind. It gives meaning to his choices. A man who lacks direction cannot lead a relationship, he cannot guide even himself. He becomes reactive, emotional, inconsistent. But a man with purpose knows how to love with clarity instead of confusion. He shows up with intention rather than impulse. His affection has depth because it is chosen, not performed. Women feel this difference. They may not articulate it, but they feel it in every interaction. A woman does not want to be a man's purpose, she wants to walk beside him while he pursues it. She wants to support his mission, not replace it. She wants to inspire him, not rescue him. When a man has purpose, he creates space for her to be soft, intuitive, creative. Her feminine energy flows naturally because his masculine energy gives it direction. 5. A man's mission is the foundation of his masculinity. Purpose is not something you find overnight. It is something you build, slowly, painfully, honestly. You build it through failure. Through heartbreak. Through discipline. Through reflection. Through becoming stronger than your excuses. And once you have it, even in its early form, you carry a light inside you that no one can extinguish. Women feel this light. They may not speak of it, but they love it. Because they know. A man with purpose cannot be owned. But he can be loved deeply. A man with purpose cannot be controlled. But he can be inspired beautifully. A man with purpose does not ask for direction. He gives it. And that is the second thing women silently love in a man. A man who knows where he is going makes her feel safe following where he leads. Part 3, a man who listens without losing himself, the emotional strength women crave but rarely name. There is a misconception many men carry, one that quietly ruins their relationships. They think women want a man who absorbs every emotion she feels, who reacts instantly, who becomes emotionally entangled with her storms. They believe that to love a woman is to drown with her when she is sinking. But here is the truth, spoken from years of watching love rise and fall. A woman does not want a man who drowns with her. She wants a man who can pull her back to shore. She doesn't need a man to feel everything she feels. She needs a man who can hold space for her feelings without losing his center. And though she may never say this aloud, what she secretly loves in a man is this. A man who listens, deeply and fully, without becoming emotionally unstable himself. This is emotional strength. Quiet, steady, rare. It is the kind of strength that cannot be faked, cannot be taught by charm, and cannot be performed. It must be built, through silence, reflection, experience, and self-mastery. 1. Women love when a man can stay present in her emotion. When a woman is emotional, she is not always seeking a solution. Sometimes, she seeks presence. A grounded masculine presence that tells her, without words, "You are safe here. I can hold this moment with you." Most men panic when a woman becomes emotional, not because they are weak, but because no one taught them how to stand still in the face of emotion. They rush to fix, to explain, to defend, to solve. But a woman's heart does not open to solutions. It opens to understanding. A Stoic man listens, not as someone trying to escape the discomfort, but as someone devoted to the truth of the moment. He listens with patience. He listens with calm eyes. He listens without making her emotion about his pride. This subtle strength is intoxicating to a woman. Not because he is perfect, but because he is steady. 2. Listening without absorbing, the art most men never learn. Women love emotional intelligence in a man, but they do not love emotional collapse. A woman does not want a man who mirrors her anxiety, amplifies her fears, or falls apart when she needs grounding. She doesn't want a man who gets offended when she expresses her feelings. She doesn't want a man whose ego bleeds into every discussion. What she desires, quietly, profoundly, is a man who can receive emotion without being controlled by it. This is where Stoic love shows its power. Stoicism does not teach a man to suppress emotion. It teaches him to interpret it, to breathe through it, to respond with clarity rather than impulse. And when a woman sees him do this, something sacred shifts inside her. She feels trust. Real trust. Not the surface-level kind built on words, but the kind built on observing how he handles tension, conflict, criticism, and emotional storms. A woman who can trust a man's emotional strength begins to open parts of herself she normally hides. She becomes softer. More honest. More feminine. More surrendered to the connection. Because she knows. This man will not break. This man will not run. This man will not turn her vulnerability into a weapon. 3. Emotional independence is masculine attraction. When a man relies on a woman to stabilize him emotionally, she begins to lose respect. She may still care for him, but care is not the same as attraction. Women are drawn to men who can hold their own emotional weight. Not because they want him to be distant, but because they want love, not dependency. Think of it like this. A woman's heart is like water, fluid, ever-changing, expressive. A man's emotional grounding is like a vessel. Steady, structured, reliable. Without the vessel, water spills everywhere. Without the water, the vessel is empty. This balance, the fusion of masculine structure and feminine flow, is what creates deep, lasting polarity in a relationship. And a man who listens without losing himself becomes the vessel she can trust. 4. Women love a man who does not take everything personally. One of the quietest, most attractive traits a man can possess is emotional sovereignty. The ability to hear difficult words without reacting from wounded pride. A woman may express frustration, fear, insecurity, confusion, sadness. She is not attacking him. She is revealing herself. A weaker man takes everything personally. A grounded man sees the truth beneath the emotion. He does not rush to defend himself. He does not respond with sharp words. He does not shut down. Instead, he holds his center. He listens with intention. He asks questions that reveal understanding rather than judgment. A woman secretly treasures this, because it means she can be honest with him. And honesty is the foundation of feminine loyalty. 5. A man who can hold emotion becomes a safe space, the rarest attraction of all. A man who can create emotional safety without losing his identity becomes unforgettable. Women remember men who made them feel. But they fall in love with men who made them feel safe. And emotional safety is not created through softness alone. It is created through strength with softness. A masculine calm paired with emotional warmth. A firm presence paired with a listening heart. This balance is rare. This balance is powerful. This balance is what makes a woman say, "I don't know why, but I trust him." If you want to understand female attraction at its deepest level, understand this. A woman will love a man who makes her happy. But she will stay with the man who makes her feel safe to be herself. And nothing creates that safety more than a man who listens. Not as a boy seeking validation, but as a man rooted in himself. Love is actually like a mirror reflecting the inner self. When we are calm enough, we will realize that every challenge, every silence carries a valuable lesson. And that is what I want to convey through each story on this channel. If you feel that these shares bring value, please leave a like to support the channel. And don't forget to subscribe, because who knows, one day, just a small idea from these videos can change the way you look at love, at yourself. Let's continue with me, because there are many interesting things waiting for you to discover. Part 4. A man who protects her peace, the quiet masculine energy women crave but rarely understand. Peace is a rare currency in today's world, and women feel the cost of losing it more deeply than men often realize. While men may chase achievement, challenges, and conquest, a woman, by nature, seeks emotional peace, a sanctuary where she can breathe without fear, without tension, without walking on eggshells. And though she may never say this directly, one of the deepest things a woman loves in a man is this. A man who protects her peace, not destroys it. Not through grand gestures. Not through dramatic promises. But through the way he moves, speaks, thinks, and behaves. Through the energy he brings into her life. Through the emotional climate he creates when he enters a room. Many men do not understand this. They believe women want strength in the form of dominance, power, or control. But the strength women crave is far quieter. The strength that calms, not the strength that threatens. A man who protects her peace becomes a man whose presence she aches for when he is gone. 1. A woman feels a man's energy long before she listens to his words. Before a man speaks, a woman feels. She feels the tension in his shoulders, the tone in his silence, the weight behind his eyes. She notices whether he brings chaos or calm, clarity or confusion. A woman's intuition is sharper than most men give it credit for, and though she might not articulate it, she can sense when a man's presence disrupts her inner world, or heals it. A man who protects her peace is not a man without flaws. He simply carries an energy that makes her feel grounded rather than shaken. He does not unload his stress onto her. He does not make his problems her responsibility. He does not let anger, insecurity, or ego spill into the space they share. His presence feels like a warm evening breeze, gentle, familiar, soothing. Not because he tries to be soothing, but because he has mastered himself. And a man who masters himself naturally becomes a refuge for the woman beside him. 2. He does not create drama, he dissolves it. Men who lack emotional control often mistake intensity for passion. They think raising their voice will make them respected. They think jealousy is proof of love. They believe conflict is inevitable, even necessary. But the truth is simple. A peaceful woman is a loyal woman. A woman living in drama eventually leaves. A stoic man does not avoid conflict, he handles it with maturity. He doesn't escalate arguments, he guides them toward resolution. He doesn't let ego dictate his reactions, he lets clarity shape them. While other men create fires, he puts them out. While other men speak carelessly, he chooses his words. While other men blame, he takes responsibility. To a woman, this is not merely attractive. It is safe. A man who protects her peace becomes the kind of man she can build a life with, not just a moment with. 3. He creates a home in his presence, not just in a place. Women do not fall in love with a man's house. They fall in love with the way a man makes a house feel like home. A home is not walls and furniture. A home is the emotional environment a man builds. The calm in his voice. The steadiness in his touch. The respect in his choices. The intention in his actions. A woman may not always explain it, but when she says, "I feel comfortable with you," what she means is, "Your presence feels like home to me." A man who protects her peace doesn't judge her emotions. He doesn't mock her sensitivity. He doesn't punish her vulnerability. He understands that a woman opens slowly, like a flower, and only blooms fully in the presence of warmth, gentleness, and safety. 4. He protects her peace by protecting his own. This is a truth many men never learn. You cannot protect a woman's peace if you have no peace within yourself. A chaotic man will always create a chaotic relationship. A man at war with himself will always bring war into his home. But a man who has cultivated inner peace, through discipline, reflection, resilience, and emotional sovereignty, naturally extends that peace outward. He sets boundaries. He chooses simplicity over drama. He diffuses tension instead of escalating it. He speaks with intention rather than impulse. He remains calm even when life becomes difficult. Women feel this. Not in his words, but in his energy. Inner peace is not passive. It is power under control. It is strength refined by wisdom. It is masculinity expressed through stability. 5. A man who protects her peace earns a kind of love that cannot be taken away. When a woman feels peaceful around a man, she gives him the deepest parts of herself. Her softness. Her trust. Her admiration. Her loyalty. Her emotional surrender. Peace is the soil where feminine love grows. Disruption is where it dies. A man who protects her peace becomes unforgettable because he becomes irreplaceable. There are many men who can excite a woman, but very few who can calm her soul. many who can touch her body, but few who can quiet her mind. A woman may tolerate many things, but she will not stay where her peace is constantly disturbed. And she may not tell you this to your face, but deep down, she knows. The man who brings her peace is the man she will choose again and again, even in silence. This is the fourth unspoken truth of attraction. Not passion, not appearance, not promises, but peace. A man who brings peace brings security. A man who brings security brings love. And a woman always gravitates toward the place where her soul can rest. Part 5. A man who values himself, the unspoken magnetism women feel instantly. There is a certain kind of man whose presence lingers long after he leaves a room. Not because he is loud. Not because he is flashy. Not because he demands attention. But because he values himself. Women feel this before they understand it. They sense it before they admit it. A man with self-worth doesn't need to announce it. His energy speaks for him. And though a woman may never verbalize it, one of the deepest things she quietly loves in a man is this. A man who carries himself with a level of self-respect that cannot be shaken by desire, attachment, or external validation. Self-worth is not arrogance. It is not dominance. It is not entitlement. It is the calm recognition of one's value, without apology, without desperation, without the need to prove anything. 1. Women are drawn to a man who knows his own value. Men often believe they must win a woman with effort, attention, pursuit, gifts, or impressive displays. But a woman feels something much more powerful than effort. She feels a man's relationship with himself. Does he speak with confidence or insecurity? Does he set boundaries or tolerate disrespect? Does he walk away from what diminishes him, or does he cling to it out of fear? Does he live from principle, or from impulse? Women instinctively read these signals. They can sense when a man is anchored, and when he is drowning beneath his own self-doubt. A man who values himself becomes magnetic because he is not seeking permission to exist. He moves with a quiet certainty. He knows what he wants, but he does not chase desperately. He desires connection, but he never abandons himself to get it. This is a man a woman respects. And respect is the soil where attraction grows. 2. Self-respect creates boundaries, and boundaries create desire. Many men lose attraction not because they lack charm, but because they lack boundaries. They tolerate behavior that diminishes them. They say yes to things that drain them. They allow disrespect because they fear losing the woman. But what they fail to understand is this. A woman cannot admire a man who does not respect himself. A man with strong boundaries does not need to control a woman. He simply does not participate in anything that violates his values. He doesn't argue with disrespect. He removes himself from it. He doesn't cling to a woman who mistreats him. He walks away with dignity. And paradoxically, the man who can walk away is the man a woman wants to follow. Because she sees something rare in him. Strength without cruelty. Confidence without ego. Clarity without stubbornness. Women test men not to manipulate, but to discover their strength of character. A man with self-worth passes those tests effortlessly. Not because he tries to, but because he simply refuses to abandon himself. 3. A man who values himself does not beg for love. Desperation is loud. Self-worth is silent. A man who values himself does not beg for attention. He does not chase after someone who is unsure about him. He does not try to force connection. Instead, he lives his life. He nurtures his mission. He invests in his growth. He surrounds himself with people who respect him. And women feel drawn to this energy, not because he is unattainable, but because he is whole. His happiness is not dependent on her validation. His identity is not shaped by her approval. His purpose does not collapse without her presence. This is the kind of man a woman trusts. Not because he needs her, but because he chooses her. And a woman always values a man who chooses her from abundance, not from emptiness. 4. Self-worth brings a calm confidence women rarely encounter. Confidence is not loud. Confidence is not performance. Confidence is quiet certainty. The kind a man develops through discipline, experience, resilience, and reflection. A confident man does not need to announce his achievements. He lives in a way that makes them obvious. He does not seek praise to feel valuable. He praises himself through his actions. He does not compare himself to other men. He competes only with who he was yesterday. This calm confidence is rare. And women feel it as soon as he enters their life. It makes them relax. It makes them soften. It makes them trust. Because a confident man does not need to dominate. Confidence is dominance over oneself. And that alone is enough. 5. When a man values himself, he teaches a woman how to love him. A man who values himself does not beg for respect. He models how he wants to be treated. He communicates clearly. He enforces his boundaries gently. He expresses his standards without arrogance. He loves without losing himself. And in return, a woman feels safe loving him. Because she knows his love has direction, not desperation. It has intention, not insecurity. It has strength, not dependency. Women fall in love with how a man treats them, yes. But they stay because of how a man treats himself. A man who values himself becomes the foundation of a relationship that cannot be shaken by fear, jealousy, insecurity, or external temptation. He becomes the anchor. He becomes the example. He becomes the masculine energy she trusts with her heart. And this is the final unspoken truth. Women quietly love the man who knows his worth. Because he invites her to rise to her own. Conclusion. In the end, a woman's heart is not won through grand gestures, flawless perfection, or loud declarations. It is drawn, silently, steadily, to the man who has mastered himself. The man who walks through life with calm purpose, whose emotional strength provides shelter rather than storm. The man who listens without losing himself, who protects her peace without demanding credit, who values himself without arrogance. These qualities are not flashy. They are not easily noticed by the untrained eye. But a woman feels them instantly. Because what she is truly searching for is not a hero, not a savior, not a knight in shining armor. But a man whose presence brings clarity instead of confusion, warmth instead of chaos, direction instead of aimlessness. A man whose inner world is steady enough for her to rest in. A man who doesn't crumble when life gets heavy. A man who chooses her out of strength, not loneliness. And though she may never say these desires out loud, she recognizes them the moment she stands before a man who carries them. In a world full of noise, she longs for a man who is still. In a world full of ego, she longs for a man who is grounded. In a world full of masks, she longs for a man who is real. Become that man. Not for her, but for yourself. And you will attract the kind of love that flows naturally toward strength, stability, and self-worth. A woman's heart does not fall for the man who demands it. It falls for the man who earns it through who he chooses to become. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. Hopefully the sharing about love and lessons from this video will help you have new thoughts and find empathy. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and share with those around you. Each of us has our own stories about love, and I'm happy to explore them with you. See you in the next videos. Wishing you a wonderful day filled with love.